IVM.
Welcome to another week on IVM. It's been a great week, and if you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. On Geek Fruit this week, Tejas and Dinkar discuss their favorite movie soundtracks. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma talks to researcher and activist Amit Chandra, and they dissect India's education sector. On Cyrus Says, we have writer and director Anand Sivakumaran, who's hosting a great new show for us called Croc Tales as well. Anand and Cyrus talk about how Anand journeyed from an engineer to a full-time writer. On Simplified, Naren, Chuck, and Shriketh go to the root of the word assassin and twisted an interesting history behind it. This week on Shunyan, we're joined by Sanjay Nath, who is the co-founder and managing partner at Bloom Ventures. We have a really interesting conversation about investing. On Marbles Lost and Found, Zen and Lavanti talk to psychotherapist Alicia Halani. And also this week marks the 50th episode of the Pragati podcast. Hosts Hamsini Hariharan and Pawan Srinath sit down to talk about the long, strange trip it's been and also round up some of the recent news. And with that, I'm going to take you on to your shows.
All right, please note that the language and ideas presented on the show might not be suitable for everyone. If you're under 18, make sure your mom isn't around. If you're over 80, why is your mom around?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
And now on Cyrus Says, guest. Naam?
Anand, known middle name Sivakumaran.
Baap ka naam?
Sivakumaran Vaidyanathan.
Gaon ka naam?
कभी गाँव देखा नहीं.
गाना का नाम, बेटा का नाम, गर्लफ्रेंड का नाम, सीए का नाम, नेबर का नाम, मिस्ट्रेस का नाम. Give me something! Coming soon, Anand on Cyrus Says.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Okay, here on Cyrus Says, I have to quickly come to the point. Mumbai rains causing havoc for all of us. But the one thing that's irritating me is everybody advising you on the roads. You see, people keep telling me how to go from A to B, B to C, and C to A. And that person himself has not gone through the entire route. See, here's what I have to say to everybody out there. Before you give advice, make sure you've traveled by that route because everything changes in 5 minutes in Mumbai. A pothole that was not there, now is there. A pothole which was shut is now open. Or two potholes have made a child pothole. So we don't know what's going on. So make sure you actually travel, and then, because it's very irritating and insensitive of you to just give advice against a cricket match. Cricket match doesn't affect anyone except those who put money and fixed it. But for us, this is very important. Our lives are at risk. So please, only if you have traversed that road yourself, then tell us about that road. It's called Cyrus Says.
And that's what Cyrus says.
All right, we're with Anand Sivakumaran. And it's a disgusting story, Anand. I didn't want to do this show. I actually said no. Because on principle. And the principle is, IIT Mumbai alumnus, a person who is qualified engineer.
Qualified is an argumentative thing.
No. I am a... You cannot play that role. Huh? You have come down from IIT to be a comedian. How dare you play this role? That's what I'm saying. Well, I can't be an IITian, so it's unfair. What you've done is you've robbed a person's
seat.
Yes, more than one person.
That person should have beaten me in the JEE, na?
Yes,
Loser.
But then, fair enough. You make a very strong point. Loser, will come back to haunt you, not you. That loser.
Loser.
Okay, Anand, quickly
that loser might be making more money right now. By not getting into IIT and doing something else more productive with his life.
You watch what you call Ashish Shakya. He's doing really well, okay? How dare you talk like that about my friends? But it's a true story. People don't know this. And when I was young, back when Mangal Pandey was a young man, even before that, I always remembered when we toured with MTV and went to colleges and things, medical college or engineering. We did a lot of IITs. So much talent was there. I was really happy that they're going to be engineers and doctors. They're good singers. You could tell, good comedian, writer, perhaps actor. But they're trapped in the middle class consciousness of India where, you've been told you're an academic, your parents were academics, and you're going to land up doing that.
That unfortunately wasn't my story.
It wasn't your story. But
my father, when I told him that I'm going to give the exam, he's like, why do you want to go to IIT?
Your dad was a comedian?
No.
You're Raju Srivastava's son? I'm kidding, yeah.
That would be interesting.
But you never know. A Sivakumaran from a Srivastava. At last, the country has healed.
North-South divide is...
Yeah, but for 5 minutes, temporarily solved. Listen, but tell us, your dad was happy?
My dad was confused. He probably...
What was your dad's background?
He was good old-fashioned government railway officer.
There you go. So, and he was worried for you?
He was worried because he never thought I'd stay. He thought I'd quit.
Why? Now we'll have to go back to your childhood. So let's understand what Anand was as a young boy, so we can now understand what your dad. Because this show is all about getting to the minds of people. It's a far more intellectual show than I know. I've just discovered, in fact, last few minutes. So were you, as a young kid, were you not the typical very good at studies boy?
Unfortunately, I was till the 10th.
But it was just a natural flaw.
It was like, I guess, one wasn't given an option.
Yeah. You just
So that was the horrible Tambram middle class.
I hate that. I grew up with the Tambram boys in my class. None of them ever failed, man. You never have a story about Tambram.
Excuse me.
Huh.
In the Tambram community, if you come second in class, that is
in
failing.
That sense, yes. In that
That's
sense.
failing.
Yes.
Then you'd be told about your cousin who has gotten into JE with rank number 27 and stuff like that.
And let's not get into Iyer versus Iyengar because it never ends.
Oh.
Opened a Pandora's box. Sorry, a Swaminathan's box. Yeah. So coming back, good at studies, but already mind elsewhere?
Mine was elsewhere long before the study started.
Mm-hmm.
So telling stories happened when I was a kid. Like when I didn't know how to write, I was still scribbling stories.
Sorry to cut you, but a lot of people tell stories. I'm just trying to look at it, across the world, people, there are always good storytellers in a classroom or in a group of people. So that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be your future. So how do you know that this is something special?
You don't.
As against just
I didn't. It was just what I wanted to do. So my character flaw is that I could never do what I didn't want to do, no matter how much you paid me for it or how rewarding you made it sound. I can't do what I don't want to do.
Right.
Which is why, unfortunately, I've never written any of those 10,000 episode soaps. I could have built houses and...
But you did, now that you mentioned, you did write for soaps as well.
Not really soaps. Mostly,
Jesse.
I wrote Jesse when it wasn't a soap.
So what was it supposed to be?
It was light, fun, inspirational.
Sony. I was there.
Yeah, but
we tried to stop him.
Suni left, and somebody else came in.
Who came in?
Come on, you'll get me drummed out of the industry.
Kunal.
Tarun.
Tarun.
And then it became a soap.
Yeah.
Which is why I left.
So you're pointing fingers at Tarun. Fair enough. And you shouldn't have. Because we'll
loop
this and play it again. We'll play it again and again and again.
It's okay. I'm still not going to work.
I'll even set it up. This is what Anand had to say about Tarun. Katyal.
I've got his mail ID. We can send it to him.
I'll send it to every ID in space. Come on. Your Tambram is bigger than my Tambram. This is going to go on for some time. Yeah. Coming back to your childhood. So you were a Bombay boy?
No. Dad was in the railways. So It was 1 year somewhere, 1 year Bombay. So Jhansi, Assam, Nigeria, and then Bombay.
Nigeria?
Yeah.
Just by the way, not in India.
Which I know.
Okay. But how was that experience?
Fabulous.
Yeah? Do you speak the local language? Did you pick it up?
Are you mad? In those days, I struggled to speak anything apart from English. So you didn't need the local language.
How long were you
the language of Nigeria at that point was football.
It still is.
If you could kick the ball, you're good.
It still is, but unfortunately, no African country will win 2018 FIFA.
No country apart from Europe is going to win this.
It's the Euro every 2 years now. There's no difference, really. I mean, and the two South American countries in the quarterfinals, in any case, were going to lose. It was like, no doubt about that. Why bring that up now? Let's talk more about your life.
Especially if any of us had money on them.
We don't do that. We're Indians. It's not our DNA. We're not allowed. We're not allowed to gamble, and we don't gamble because we are virtuous.
It's not called gambling. Cultured. It's called sporting.
Sporting?
I don't know. They're nice
You're the improv
terms.
guy. Take your time. Okay. I like the word cheating, but it's not allowed either. Anand Sivakumaran, back as a child. You traveled all over. You're very good at studies. You've got that whole thing that you're going to go into IT. Was that ordained?
No.
Preordained?
It wasn't even...
Let's cover that story first. Whose decision was that?
Mine.
So you did want to be an engineer?
No. I wanted to go to IIT.
Because you heard there's a panther or leopard on campus?
That's a different story. I went looking for the panther one night, but that's a long story.
Tell us about the non-girls.
Non-males is what we used to call them.
Non-males. I've been many years have passed. But that's changed now, no? There's a far more...
I haven't been to campus in a while.
Apparently it's like 10-15% now. When your time it was 3-4%.
Lesser.
Even lesser, yeah. So hence the panther story. Out of sheer boredom. Let's go find a leopard. That'll be interesting on a weekend. Yeah.
That was exactly how it happened.
So we're joking about this, but you did want to join IIT.
Yep.
Okay. Quick word about that experience. You come to Mumbai, Powai rather. And?
So I was a South Bombay boy.
Okay.
So the most disturbing thing for me when I decided to go to IIT was like, oh my God, I have to travel all the way to Kanjurmarg.
Correct. And there are no bridges and all in those days. There's no connecting roads
nothing. There
was take a boat
basically and outside the campus was you could off-road there. That was the first dirt track.
It's beautiful inside. I've been there a few times as a fake scholar, but getting there, not a joke. And back in, 90s?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So you say bye to your parents, you might as well have gone to University of Southern California. I'll see you in
That
6
might have been a
months.
more comfortable journey.
Yeah, and possibly faster. All said and done.
Definitely faster.
Yeah. So, but tell us a little bit about the experience there. So, did you think this is your home now? Do you think you're going to...
I spent 4 years in IIT doing college festivals, running the local magazine, writing for newspapers. We had like a quiz or a jam or a debate or something every night. That's what I was doing.
Are you responsible for Chetan Bhagat? Would you take the call for that?
No, he was IIT Delhi. I was Bombay.
So
we looked down upon the North.
How can an engineer come from the North? That was your book title.
No, how can a writer come from the North?
Oh!
And that too writing in English. That too writing in English. Please, we were talking about the English part of it.
Oh God, Mr. Sivakumaran, you are going to cause more trouble than we need on this show. Fair enough, but all points to note. Okay, now let's get into the career. How the hell did you land up scripting for, you say they're not soaps, but for television? Where did that come from?
Okay, actually, that's not what the first thing which happened.
Okay.
So
you complete your degree?
I completed my degree to the surprise of a lot of professors. Though also the official theory was that some of them just passed me in the courses because they're like, if we
They
don't
want to
pass
see you
him,
again.
Exactly, this is coming back.
Yeah.
We don't need him here again.
Yeah.
Janedo. So that's what happened. Had a short stint with advertising.
Where?
O&M.
O&M, wore black shirts to the awards. Drank with Piyush Pandey.
No, in 3 months I ran.
Which year were you in O&M?
93.
93. So we are the same batch almost, because in 93 I went to Dakunia's after college. But you're IIT grad and then going. So you're a little... Okay, there's a difference. So, pay scale must have been the same, of course. Yeah.
Was there pay? I don't quite remember.
I just read Henry Toron Rajput's because I was in copy, which meant no work for 6 months. Because one of our clients was there.
Unfortunately, at that time I was in servicing, so I did the work of most of the copywriters.
Yeah.
Because my boss figured I could write.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, those guys are going to take 6 months, you write the copy.
It was wonderful.
So everyone hated me.
No, but is this true? The client servicing in the 90s, I remember this, they would try to do everything anyway. So if you're one of the laid back people, you'd be like, fine, you write it. Because they'll come and interfere with everything. So yeah. Why do you leave advertising?
It was rubbish. I hated advertising.
IIT Powai didn't prepare you for advertising in South Mumbai? Come on.
If I wanted to write stories, and
what campaign did you work on? You worked on something.
British Airways, Kinetic.
The brand is gone. Kinetic brand is gone. Next.
Wait, Herbert Synth brands are gone.
Completely swallowed.
Crompton Greaves brand is gone.
Jesus. You're the touch.
I'm the kiss of death.
You're the kiss of death. You're Shiva. in Shiva Kumar.
In the Rudra avatar.
It looks like it. So advertising, not your cup of tea. But again, I think you're being very modest and humble about all these things. But you these are easy worlds for you. You fit in, but then you say, well, I don't like this.
I don't know if it's easy or not. I didn't like it.
But you could have lasted. You chose not to.
I guess so.
And so what do you want to do? I mean, this is a ridiculous story. Again, I'm not being funny about it.
So,
I mean, you're an IT grad, for God's sake, and you make all these jokes about they wanted to pass me and all that. But IT bloody grad, you go and join client servicing, which generally in the 90s meant you had no job, and somebody's friend or of the family would, introduce you to somebody, and you became a client servicing guy in an advertising agency.
I guess at that point I was just trying my hand at different things, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And after that, I started an event marketing company, and that was fun. We were doing events in colleges.
Is it called Fountainhead?
It was called Pixie Dust.
Pixie Dust. It's all there on my research. You think I haven't read this? Think I don't read?
So yeah, and then finally I got a chance.
Give me a sec. And
then finally I got back to doing what I wanted to do, which was telling stories.
But what is the event company?
We were very successful, and then I gave it to my partner.
You're a friggin' lunatic, man. I would be so scared to work with your wife. Are you married?
Divorced.
There you go. Don't want to say anything.
There's a pattern here.
There's a pattern. It's like you're this kind of guy. You're good at everything. It looks like you're really a talented man.
Okay, let's blame this.
But you can't stay.
Let's blame this on my father. When you get used to shifting after every 1 year.
Yes. Good. I like your thinking. That's spot on. It's like,
It's all my dad's fault.
Yeah.
And the Indian Railways.
You're the opposite of the politician who doesn't want to leave the seat ever. The seat is boring.
The seat is boring.
Yeah. Oof, excellent. So advertising company, then event company, then give it to the partner, and then become a writer. But how did you get that chance? I mean, where was the...
So there wasn't a chance. I basically started cold calling.
What does that mean?
When I decided I wanted to become a writer, I called every director, every producer, everybody, and said I want to write.
Yeah.
And strangely, some of them said, okay, come over, let's see what you can do.
Really? But did you know who they were? You just found phone numbers and called them. I mean, did they know you?
They didn't know me.
You just go, hi, I'm Anand. And I've been watching you have a bath.
Hi, I'm Anand, and I think you do phenomenal work. Which is a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
But
of course, you couldn't remember the work they did, but
no,
which is your favorite?
I did my research.
You did your research. Temporary. Which you can't remember because you go from one guy to the next anyway. So who was the first person who showed interest?
So the first person with whom I really had a long-standing working relationship was Manjul Sinha, who had done Ye Jo Hai Zindagi and things like that in the past.
The first thing of television, the first generation.
So I started working with him much later.
Yeah.
But he was my mentor. He was the guy who taught me how
to spell and all that. Because being a writer without spelling and before Google and things like that, it was difficult.
Yeah.
Before spell check. But what is the very first thing you wrote? Don't give me a birthday card to my mom or something because that's not...
The first thing I wrote were actually plays when I was still in college. And one of them won an award also.
While you were where?
In IIT.
Oh, in IIT. Okay. But let's come back to this, the reality situation where you went and called people up. Who gave you a job?
So Manjul gave me a job.
And that was?
That was writing for a show on ZTV called Ye Hai Mumbai Meri Jaan.
Yes.
So
was it short films?
No, that was Rishte. We did that also.
Okay.
We did a Rishte, but that was 2 years later.
Okay.
So we did this first.
So this was a full series?
Yeah. It was a sitcom.
How many episodes?
I did about 6 or 7. But around that time, what happened was KBC happened on Star.
Right.
And Z panicked.
Okay.
And they threw out all their programming.
And Anupam Kher came up with 10 ka dam.
Yes. Sawal 10 crore ka.
Correct.
So basically we were the ones
who got... I'm still waiting for my money, by the way. I won that first season. Do you know anybody in Z?
Z doesn't pay. 10 crore. If you get
crime doesn't pay and Z doesn't pay. Anybody else, give me a list.
If you get the 10 out of the crore, you've done better than most people who work for Z.
And GST mera baap bharega. Okay, so the first was a sitcom. You're saying, and then you moved from there too?
So I worked with Manjul on lots of things for a couple of years. We had pitches and stuff like that. Some didn't see the light of day.
We did that pitches with a P or was it
PP?
P. Okay, fair enough. I'm also a dog person, so that's fine either way. No, so what we're trying to figure out here is you are now. This is what you do for money.
Yeah.
You've given up everything else. IIT is a long away.
Right.
You're not interested in events or anything else. So
nope.
And without any real background, you're what now? 30 years old?
Closer to 46.
You're closer to 46. No, I'm talking about then.
Then, yeah. Then I was 31.
So I'm saying 31, and you don't have a proper job and you're trying your hand at writing.
Recently married. Paying rent on a house.
So,
it was a pretty crazy time.
Are you actually a little mad or are you just very brave?
See, I don't think anyone uses the word little when they talk about my madness.
Yeah.
So I'm just totally mad.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Close to insane.
You got large, what is the word that rhymes with spectacles? And I'm not viewing anything. I'm just saying as a metaphor. Large, really large. So Manjul is sort of making, but the show didn't run that well.
No.
So then what do you do next? Now, where do you go? This is a guy from IIT who's thrown everything away, gone into client servicing. I mean, it's like a descent.
It was.
And so what's next?
So, did a couple of quizzes for television.
What does that mean? Achha.
I wrote, I directed, I anchored.
Oh, for which channel?
This was for a channel which also died, called Z Education.
Mathematic show?
No. It was general trivia quizzes.
Okay.
But...
you're killing a lot of careers here.
Not as much as Sanjay Bansali. Did you know that the first 6 production houses he worked with all shut down?
What are you saying? Then he took the name Leela. And everything worked off the back.
Well,
is your story similar? Do you have a Leela in your middle name?
No.
Okay. Then I think we have to take a break. We'll take a quick break and then come back. Lots more to talk about. We haven't reached the point where you are now, and we're joking about this, and I love to joke about this, but I still can't believe you weren't a little worried. Because, you had the future at your feet as an IIT grad. You had all these things. Even in advertising early days, you were the right place, right time. And then suddenly you shift to writing. And I don't know. Were you really confident? Tell me honestly.
No.
Oh, great. Take a break. We'll come back.
Shunyavan, 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 Shunyavan.
$1 billion acquisition. Another copycat startup got founded.
No, the tech world in India is surely moving double the speed of this voiceover.
Tune in to Shunya One every Tuesday to catch us talking to the smartest people we know on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
All right, back here, Anand is telling us about his life. He's writing for television, which could mean anything. I mean, if you have a hit show, of course, it means lots of money and work for 20 years. You can have flop after flop. But you didn't initially start with a big one, so what happens?
Yeah, so also what was happening at that time was that with Manjul, we were doing a lot of pitches. So new shows to Sony, new shows to...
So he really liked you, obviously, and believed in you then.
Yeah.
And whatever he saw of your writing, he said, this guy's got something, so he was going to...
Yeah, he was, like I said, he was pretty much my mentor, not just in terms of writing, but also direction. Also direction.
Cuddle you at night. And
No, none of that stuff.
No,
See, if Manjul liked you, then when something went wrong on the set, he screamed at you.
Okay.
As an example to everyone else.
Or is that what he said afterwards? Because he's called you so many names. And
He threw things.
He threw things. What is the second show you write?
So... the next thing which I wrote was one of the things that you were talking about. Z had this slot called Rishte, which were like mini movies. So did one which actually went on to win the Indian Television Award.
Which was?
It was called Izzat Ka Faluda. So it was about a Supari killer who actually ends up playing Cupid.
So is it comic genre? Or?
It was comic, but tragicomic.
Okay.
The killer dies.
Why are you telling me? And I can't watch it. Not only I can't watch it, but the 8 people who listen to my podcast can't watch it either. But never give away the story.
Come on.
IIT doesn't teach you anything. I'm telling you right now. Wasted your time there at Powai. So now in your mind you're settled. You got married at this point. Also,
I was married before I decided to quit the company, the events company, and
so the bills are pending. I'm presuming.
Pretty much.
And but you've got this Manjul guy on your side, and Manjul is a big name. Let's face it. At that point,
absolutely.
So that's a bit of confidence, but you still don't have a big hit.
No.
You're
and not too much work either, because most of what we were doing was pitching for new shows. We didn't have a running show.
Okay.
So there's no check coming in every month.
So then what does Anand do next?
You keep persisting. You keep finding. You borrow a little money from the father.
Mm-hmm. And then you move into dramas? Is that what happened next?
No, what happened was I actually moved into thrillers.
Okay.
So there was a show on Miritek called Canine Symphony.
The Alva brothers.
Let's
do a show on them.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Pure silence.
One shouldn't go there.
They're very nice to me. And the Congress may come back to power. Again,
Good,
silence.
They have a career.
What happened to my improv king? You don't want to say anything about these guys?
Then
brothers are coming.
I was just going to say that if the Congress comes back to power, then they'll have a career. Right now, they don't have one.
Oh, Anand doesn't hold his punches. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Thrillers? You moved into thriller format?
Yeah.
And what was the show?
It was, like I said, it's a show called Kahani Jurumki. It started out as real crime, but that didn't rate.
So real
then
crime
we
as in you take actual crime
and fictionalize it.
Okay.
So it was Crime Patrol or Savdhan, this thing 20 years ahead.
So better production values.
Definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. I want to ask you, do you write in Hindi or do you write in English?
Both.
So where do you pick up the Hindi? Nigeria?
No, actually, because of Nigeria. So when I came back and we were in Guwahati, my Hindi was terrible.
Okay.
So I had to take tuitions.
Okay.
And I was
From Assamese tutor teaching you Hindi?
Proper UP tutor. But the thing was that my Hindi was made fun of.
Yeah.
One, you're a Tambram.
Yeah.
Two, you've come back from a foreign country.
Of course, you'll still score higher in the Hindi exam, but you won't speak it correctly. Then
I wasn't scoring well in Hindi either. And I think that became a sore point. So it became something to prove.
Yeah.
So I just got very good at Hindi. The other thing was, yes, like you said in IIT.
I like the way he just shrugs and says, I got very good at Hindi. I had 17 tuitions. From physics to Hindi to Marathi to everything. I never got good at anything. And that's the story of 80% of us in India and all across the world. Lots of boys especially don't really improve. The tutors improve. We don't improve.
It's the motivation.
It's not the motivation. You wasted your brilliance. You're wasting your time. Go back to IIT, start all over again. That's what I say. That's going to be a happy story. Okay, so doing the thrillers, people are now recognizing you for your writing skills? Any other people calling up and saying...
so then one thing which really was fabulous is I met Soni Rajdan.
Yes, now not to be called Alia Bhatt's mother. Very pretty. By the way, I think she's prettier.
She is prettier and she's a better actress.
Come on. That's not necessary.
She is.
But how can you say that? I think Alia Bhatt's a good actress, but I just think
Alia
Soni's
is fabulous.
Really hot.
Alia is fabulous.
Mahesh, sorry, but they're not together, so it's okay. I just don't want to fight with anyone because, I've got enough problems. Yeah.
So thanks to that, and again, the things that we started working on didn't see the light of day, but I ended up writing 2 films for the Bhatts. Okay. One which Soni directed and the other which Mohit directed.
Okay.
So that was Nazar and Kalyug.
Okay.
And Kalyug was a rather big
Did
success.
So that changed your life?
that helped.
Yeah.
That helped.
And now full-time writer. Everything else has come to a standstill.
Yes.
So then how do we get into this other side of you, which is this improv?
That happened later. What happened after Kalyug was also that I went back to the other thing I wanted to do, which was direct.
Yeah.
So thanks to Kalyug and stuff happening, I made a small film, which was in English, called Detour, which unfortunately didn't get out because by the time we were done with the film, though the producer was a lovely person, he passed away.
Oh.
So
awkward moment for all of us. I was expecting a nice, funny story.
No,
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
That was...
So you've never released it?
No.
Well, why can't you release it in post,
It was complicated after he passed away and things, so...
Like the ownership?
No, the ownership was
I
his.
can solve this for you. I've come from a legal family, legal minds, none of which work now, but please, can I help?
No, that's...
But you're proud of that movie.
Yeah.
You think it was a good piece of work?
Yeah,
Maybe one day.
and it had a lot of good actors from theatre. There was Zafar Karachiwala, there was Darshan Jariwala. Good lot of people. It was fun working, it was a fun film.
Yeah, it sounds like every Kachi and Bori actor in the neighborhood you called put together.
Kind of.
Although these two have done a lot of work. I want to get into this whole thing that you do now also but also you have a show on IVM Podcast, which is huge. And people are talking about it. And it's not a plug, because we don't plug. Let me tell you, we do not plug on this. We're not the type of nepotistic kind of people who come in and beat our chest and say IVM every 5 seconds. It's not our thing.
Sure.
But you do have a show. And we have to talk about it because this is the future and where you are right now.
Right.
You've come a long way from IIT Powai.
I have.
From those Hindi classes in Assam. From Nigeria, where you scored a goal against a strong African contingent. How do you score a goal, by the way? They weren't looking.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. And now you're here with our show. Now tell us about the show.
Okay, the show, it's basically a takeoff on something I used to do at parties.
Okay.
So the idea was that...
Is it what I used to do? Because I used to take my pants off and walk around, and I thought it was really cool.
This is slightly different.
You didn't wear pants anyway?
No.
Okay, go on.
So what I'd do is, after everybody was a few drinks down, I'd say, okay, just give me a word or a sentence. And I'd come up with a story on the spot. And
was it pornographic? You don't want me drunk at your party and you start telling me a story about a snail and a worm.
You know,
and how they live together.
The funny part was, since you keep talking about IIT, that was part of my ragging in IIT.
Really?
Coming up with pornographic stories on the spur of the moment.
And what was the punishment? They're all boys here. Think about it.
Oh, they loved the story so much that they stopped ragging me.
So you became like the Howard, what's his name? The Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, I mean,
but
like,
without the Playboy bunnies.
Where everyone
with
else,
IT bunnies.
Everyone else had to copy notes.
Yeah.
I got to tell pornographic stories.
Tell us one.
Huh?
Tell my listeners one. We have no adult material here on this show. Come on.
Let's do the same thing as we on the show. So give me a line.
I throw you a word?
Yeah, or a word.
Okay. Esophagus.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Cyrus is extremely proud of his esophagus.
I am.
And in fact, that's his key to a happy sex life.
It is.
In fact, on Tinder, Cyrus's profile is a picture of his esophagus.
Yes, without a collar.
So, this is a story of how, thanks to the esophagus, Cyrus ended up having 3 dates on the same night and in the same place, and ultimately all 4 ended up in the same room, on the same bed, under the same sheets, and everyone was really happy.
But only one was a woman. That was the problem.
Come on, now you're giving away the spoilers.
Go on.
So, no, this part of we're going to continue the story on my show.
Okay, let's take another word. Let's just do two lines. Let's just take strange words.
Sure.
Let's take symphony.
Symphony.
But why do you shut your eyes for 3 seconds? I get scared.
Connect up. Think.
Okay,
let the story come.
Because I feel it's going to become like Pankaj Udas into a ghazal or something at that point. I get really worried. Yeah.
You know, I do sing.
Please sing.
Every time you need a building evicted.
How can you wear tambram and not be able to sing Carnatic vocals or Hindustani classical?
Every time I sing, you can evict a building.
Fair enough.
So I don't think you want this building evicted, so I will not sing.
Our show standard is so low, you don't have to worry about anything. No building will be moved.
So, symphony. So, in Bombay, there's a symphony that you can hear quite often.
Yeah.
It's called the Canine Symphony.
Okay.
It's all the street dogs who at 12 in the night get together and start howling. But there's a reason. Nobody knows the real reason. Everyone thinks it's because of ghosts or spirits or because they're looking at the moon. The truth isn't that. The truth is that in dogs also, they have local beauty queens. Mm-hmm. And in every alley, 12 o'clock is the time, just like you have catwalks for models, there's the time for the canine walk, which is when the hottest bitch in that area comes out strolling around, and all the dogs are trying to get their attention.
All the one bitch.
The one bitch trying to
Or the
get her
many
attention.
bitches.
Her attention.
So there's just the one bitch, right?
Yep.
And there are lots of dogs. This is like my college life.
No, this is IIT.
IT here, there you go. So we have the same problem. And at least you got a degree. What did I get? I got a watchman who saw me every day and would still ask for ID. They would only ask certain people for ID. I never get that. It's like prejudice, racism or something.
Which college were you, Cyrus?
Xavier's. They just started the
By
bloody
the way,
ID.
let me tell you one thing. I used to spend a lot of time at Xavier's, but
it's not in Powai.
the watchman never asked me for my ID.
No, you must have known a lot of bitches. But he knew me by name and he asked for ID. Well, Cyrus, ID. He would be like that. ID nahi ja sakta. 5 guys would walk behind me. Ridiculous. Oh, life has been terrible. Last word. You choose your own word. Come on.
No, that doesn't work.
Okay, testicles.
Okay.
You're laughing at my testicles?
Didn't I already do that?
I think you did. Maybe it was just the one. Now laugh again.
So, did you know that testicles were actually the tastiest part of the human body? Now, most of us are not cannibals.
All right. I don't know if I'm happy with that one. I'm a liberal, but I got to draw the line here, Anand. Really.
Come on.
Okay. All right. Is it? You tell me.
It is. And that story we will continue on my show.
I think we should.
The story of the edible testicles.
There you go. Coming soon, Anand and the Edible Testicles, which is not necessarily yours. We're not saying that.
We're not saying
What's
it's
the show
anybody's.
called?
The show is called The Croc's Tales.
The Croc or Croc's Tales?
The Croc or Croc's Tale.
That's CROC before any people write in odd
short for
spellings.
crocodile.
Okay. The Croc's Tales.
Right.
I got it. Not quite the Upanishads, but we'll do what we can. All right, Anand, thank you so much for being on the show. Great talent, and where anybody can find you here on IVM. Plus, is there any other website that they can locate you on?
My full name, AnandSivakumaran.com. Since I'm Tam, I better spell it out. Nobody's going to get it right.
Yeah.
ANAND SIVAKUMARAN. That's SI, no H. South Indians have a problem with H.
They never age.
They never age.
They remain the same. But do you still write? You still write, right?
I've got a book coming out later this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a company called Croc Tales, which creates web series and stuff. So we're doing shows for Alt, Woot, View, discussing stuff with Geo. Hopefully, maybe the next Sacred
I have a
Games
lot of
will be
influence
us.
with Geo. I can help you with that one. But Croc Tales, when you come on our show, it's called Croc and Bull. You can bring your bit too. I'll bring the bull part.
I'll bring the tail.
There you go. Anand, cheers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
We'll
so much,
see you
Cyrus.
soon. The show is called Cyrus Says. But now it's time for the AMAs.
Hey, what's good, you guys? It's your boy Ranveer Alabadia from the YouTube channel Beer Biceps, and the Beer Biceps team is bringing you Hustle Science. Hustle Science is basically a show where we interview hustlers. We ask them about what made them legendary. We ask them about their success secrets. We go to the core of their legendary status in life. It's going to be hosted by my boy Tejaswin Gumber and yours truly, Ranveer Alabadia. Make sure you catch Hustle Science on the IVM podcasting app and website, or any kind of podcasting platform that you use to get your podcasts. Make sure you check it out. The episodes are going to be out every single Tuesday.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
All right, that was Anand and breath of fresh air. He was good too. But now it's time for the AMAs, and we have Swati back for this episode special. We haven't mentioned who Swati is actually.
So Swati is Swati Bakshi.
No, I mean her background. Apparently she's a journalist.
She's a journalist.
She's been out in the
Yes.
front. She's covered World War I, World War II, and now she's here.
So
Swati, you want to tell people a little bit about yourself?
No, I haven't covered World War One for
the hell?
sure, and I don't want to cover World War III also. So I've been a broadcast journalist, and I worked with BBC in Delhi for quite a long
Babak,
time.
That's a huge tribute, by the way. Have you watched The Windsors? It comes on BBC.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Did you see Sacred Games?
Huh?
Did you see Sacred Games?
No, I saw a few minutes of the episode, but it's slow. How was it?
So first 10 minutes is boring.
Yeah,
After that,
that's the
it's
first.
just-
That's what I saw.
Yeah, so
Everyone
good.
is praising it.
It's
actually.
amazing. It's
I'm
amazing.
told episode 2, 3 onwards it.
Even
it'll
the
pick up.
first episode, once you get past like the first 10-15 minutes, right? Basically, once you get past this Saif's whole angsty area, right, where you find out about all the shit that he's going through, and once you get past that, then it just picks up, and it's
Good
just
stuff.
insanely good.
So it's Anurag Kashyap back in shape
Yes.
and form.
Yes,
What about
yes.
Vikram Chandra?
Yeah, Vikramaditya Motone.
Okay, but what about the writer? I mean, doesn't he get anything?
That's Varun Grover.
Oh, the rewriter. Rewriting is different.
Oh, Vikram Chandra, the original.
original
The original writer. Yes.
The Angst cop and the Underworld
Yes,
Dawn. And of
yes,
course,
yes.
not a story that's not been sort of heard before, but let's see.
No, but really, really, really well made. I mean, like, extremely well made.
Let's get them on the podcast. If they're good enough for you, they're good enough for me.
We'll try doing some. We'll get some people on.
Above mentioned.
I think we're going to try to get some people on.
All right.
Yep, that's right.
Tell them we'll pay. We can always do it later. All right.
And never do that. Okay. So, what's the most unique, quirky memorabilia that you have received from a fan? This is Mayuresh asking
I can
Cyrus.
reverse that because that comes to my mind, and from Lucknow once. I had 2-3 incidents in Lucknow, by the way, Swati ji.
Okay.
One is a guy kissing me on my lips at a show. Oof.
Really?
So he came on.
In Lucknow?
Yeah, he came on the stage. It was a show where Adnan Sami couldn't climb. So it was quite a funny show actually because suddenly they're calling me. We had done our anchor link or whatever and got the crowd and got them to scream and all that. And then Adnan was supposed to come on. And then I got off. And then once you get off, if you know anyone who's done this business, you switch off completely.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have a phone in those days, but I was sitting and chatting with the guys on the side. Suddenly, Broja, aja. What happened? They couldn't lift Adnan because he couldn't make those steps. The steps, the rehearsal, obviously there was an easy way to get on, but now the real steps had been put and he couldn't climb. He was about 400 pounds then.
Right.
So we had to hold him. So 8 of us are holding different parts of Adnan Sami and taking him up. As lovely a guy as he is, that was I think that's, one of the things that he might remember when he decided to go the other way and lose all that weight. But yeah, so then a fan came on stage in the middle, jumped on stage and went to get him off and he said, I love you, Cyrus! And he came and he kissed me. Tuck. There's Devika with the homophobic moments. That's from another episode or whatever.
Okay,
So that's
you were answering,
memorabilia. Then I remember once doing these shows called MTVU where we go to universities, the kids would say, give us something of yours. So you take my belt and things like that.
Okay.
So I belt at that time, can you believe it? That's why I stopped wearing things. Belt, pen. It's ridiculous what people think. I'll take this, I'll take that. I've never understood why they take an autograph on the hand, for example. I think that's really insulting to you because you're not Shah Rukh Khan. Don't take Shah Rukh Khan's on the hand. Just to make, I think it's the Indian thing of not wanting me to feel bad, Mehman culture. So he's come all the way here, don't know who he is, but we'll show him some love. So ek autograph de do. And so you write on the hand, dear Raju, thank you very much. And then obviously 2 months later, Raju's washed his hand and you never see or hear of you again. Yeah, but there have been memorabilia. Indian fans are amongst the craziest in the world. If they really like you, generally. I mean, I'm not that I have foreign fans to compare with, but yeah.
They torture you also.
I'll show you this actually when we're done.
I've never, I think that's a bit unfair about fans. They can come into your space and all that. My wife used to get angry at a movie or restaurants and all that. But you have to understand, nobody does it. Again, it's intent. There's no intent to be rude to you. They're just happy to see you. So sometimes you got to remember that. And remember that this thing will end very fast one day and then you will be waiting for someone to say hello. Even the Darban won't say hello in those days. You might as well enjoy it while it lasts. So I don't have a problem with all that.
No, that's fine. I'll show you the rug that came. Those rugs, remember I showed you those rugs?
Oh, yes.
I'll show you those that came. Those are actually really cool. If you guys haven't seen them, you should go check them out on our social media. We had a really cool fan from... I can't remember the name of the city. It's in the middle of UP. A guy named Nadeem who came by and dropped off.
That's as Valkeshwar as you can get. You didn't bother in the middle of UP.
It's 2
You
hours.
don't care.
It's a small city 2 hours away from Kanpur.
Yeah,
I
but
know
he
that.
sent you rugs. Lucknow is 2 hours from Kanpur.
It's like the rug center of the world.
Is it
I know
Lucknow?
that. It's like the rug center of the world. It's a rug city. It's a city which is built around rugs. So I was unfamiliar with the city until...
This is not a rug from you, no?
No. We'll put a link in the show notes for his website as well so that people can check it out.
We will promote him. He's given us rugs.
He's given us rugs.
One of the most beautiful gifts a man can
Dedicated
get.
to you specifically.
I know. So I can stamp on my own name every time. Damn you, Brocha, damn you.
Okay, so Cyrus, you have to be a devil's advocate now. Why is match fixing a fraud if you see sport as an entertainment? Aren't other forms of entertainment scripted like films, music, theatre,
blame the
etc.?
television.
You still pay, watch,
But blame the
listen to
television.
them.
Don't blame the sportsmen, blame the television companies. No? They want to dress somebody in a short skirt and or dress a man as a woman and do all kinds of crazy stuff and scream and shout. And, after a point, they've made it into a circus. No, not the players. Players are generally trying to play a sport.
And it is a game. It's a game which is...
This is our fault.
Yeah.
And to some, America has to take the blame, Amit.
Sorry?
Because you guys, America, you guys.
You
Ultimately,
guys.
from Lalit Modi onwards, we've looked towards NBA, we've looked towards NFL, we've looked towards baseball also, but I would say more NFL and definitely NBA to get the more color, the pomp, the sort of, the ringside seats, the spectators, the fancy celebrities there. Everything is Americanized now in Indian sport and IPLized now.
Okay.
But NBA has to, it's the ghost, it's the elephant in the room.
I don't
at the
see
back.
why that... I don't think that you have the same kind of nonsense over there, right? Well, not even there. I mean, it's pomp and circumstance. What's wrong with pomp and circumstance? Match fixing is a different thing, right? He's talking about entertainment and match fixing. He's like, why? And he's asking her, honestly, I'm sorry, who is this guy?
Tilak Kamath.
Tilak, I don't think this is the greatest question, because what you're doing is you're essentially saying that WWE and boxing are the same thing, and they're not. They're different things, right?
There have been lots of fixes in boxing over the years.
WWE and
WWE occasionally is real.
Greco-Roman wrestling, whatever you might, however you want to put it, right? I mean, like
the Greco-Roman wrestling, the banyans are tighter. That's basically the difference,
right?
And you're only allowed to use your left hand.
Okay,
because the Greeks were left-handed,
but
for many years.
But your intention, these two things have been set up differently, right?
But I think he's also talking about this whole circusization of all our sports, which is leading to not taking it seriously, which is leading to the betting and the fixation thing, because people think of it more like a joke now.
I don't agree with that.
There is a process in his thinking.
I don't think so. I don't agree with that.
So let's look at it. Old-fashioned Test cricket, people wearing white, that kind of thing, and nobody getting involved beyond a point. You know, it's there. It's cricket. It's gentleman's game. It's whatever. Now, as you bridge that divide between spectator and this thing, and the people who present the game and everything else, jumping and screaming and wearing funny clothes and doing all kinds of interactions. Some of it very innovative, and no doubt about that, because the old order changed it. But also making it more of a circus and less real and sincere as a sporting spectacle. And from there, the thinking goes skewed towards the maybe it's okay to gamble.
I don't buy that at all, because we've been
fixing games for 5 years.
No, we've been hearing stories about gambling happening since like the 60s and 70s, right? And people trying to get into booking.
I mean, gambling's been happening since Homo sapien and Neanderthal man, and they've all been gambling, yeah.
Since the Mahabharata. Right? No, so gambling.
Read the code of conduct on the podcast. Right. You cannot mention certain things. Yeah.
No, but gambling has been going on forever, right? So I mean, like, I don't think that you can equate the two things, right? I mean, like, the game itself is the game, and the gambling itself is the gambling. Now, the game might have more shosha going on around it than it used to have. It may have been more of an entertainment but that doesn't excuse the gambling part.
So here, what my thoughts, Swati, please come in. And my thought on this is that, do you devalue the sincerity of the effort of the game when you do all this colorification? I'm using all the wrong words, but please understand the image here.
You mean.
And when you make it into more of a circus, do we not? So it's not a big jump then to not take it seriously. And as you said, it becomes more WWE. You're going to that direction, in which case it's theatre. And if it's theatre, then I write my own play. And then, I have my characters. And that's what it's becoming.
I don't understand when and where this need to sell the sport like that has emerged. I mean, that idea to sell that sport, which was already so popular.
Because people are not watching it, Swati, just for bat versus ball, for the swing in the air, for the sea movement of the pitch. They're looking at what's going to happen basically with the color and the pomp and the ceremony and all that's attached to it. So
who is dancing in the opening ceremony?
How kaun hai VIP seats mein?
I know you're not a fan of football, but I mean, like, what is the World Cup? The World Cup is exactly that. It's pomp, and it's like, that's what it is. What are all of these spectacles? These spectacles are all like that,
this time the kind of photo
right?
shoots came out of the World Cup. They were like, like fashion shows happening.
But that's the nature of entertainment,
I don't want to be insensitive,
right?
but Neymar could easily have been in Thailand doing a better job,
Okay,
in terms of diving.
What you said.
Sorry, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So Tilak has another question for you.
That's me.
Recently, to protest Trump's visit to the UK, they unveiled a giant balloon depicting Trump as a baby in diapers in the sky. So any comments how such a peaceful protest can be applied in India?
July 13th is also Friday the 13th, by the way.
Okay.
So that's also a big deal in UK. He comes on Friday the 13th. What is that famous film? Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Jason.
What a moron. Yeah.
Maybe you're talking about Friday the 13th Part 4.
Part 7 by now. Yeah, I don't have no idea.
Well, I mean, I don't know which part you're talking about. So.
Yeah, but coming back to Trump, so there's in the whole world, it's sort of Trump pro and Trump against, very clear the divide. And the press generally is against, because we are left-leaning or liberal or whatever you want to say. And so that's going to continue. But having said that, how do you cannot separate America from the world. No. So it's like you're lumped with the situation till the next election.
Yeah, pretty much.
And maybe more.
So he's asking that how can you have such peaceful protests in India? Can you have them?
See, we don't. Our problem is we make everyone your gods, and we then have to take them too seriously. See, out there you can lampoon Queen Elizabeth, you can lampoon the Prime Minister Theresa May. If you watch the Windsors, I mean, it's terrible, the lampooning after some time. It's really bad. Yeah. And I mean, Prince Charles is hilarious. The character who plays him, he's just fantastic. But imagine if we do that here with any of our sacred cows. Forget our politicians. If I go back in time and take on our revered names of history, I won't take names. I can't even take their names here. Make fun of them. I'd love to do a show with a historical sort of parody, but we can't do that.
So we take ourselves too
unless
seriously.
we rubbish the Mughals while this government is in power, and then maybe switch the next time around.
No, but I mean, like, there is no sense of humor around these things. We have to be...
we take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah,
This is a problem.
Yeah.
The psychophancy of India also, to put people up and pedestal pe dal do, and then pao pado, and make them... How dare you? It's never the person, it's always the chamcha. How dare you? How dare you? Have you heard these words on TV, guys? How dare you?
I think this concept of followers itself is quite problematic with social
Especially
media.
with Twitter.
In fact, I mean, social media is, to be blamed for this concept being concretized in the form of followers. What is this followers?
Let's not denigrate followers. We want followers. Please follow us on all IVM Podcast social media.
Can't we get fake followers? Can't we pay for it?
No.
Come on.
But then I don't get it. It's not useful, no?
Who cares?
I want useful followers.
I like to win.
I want all of these nice people who are listening right now to follow us.
Who cares? Just win. Isn't that what we discussed in the last question? Just win. Shabash, boys. Last over.
All right.
What's on?
That's all.
That's it?
That's it.
I think that's it. Let's wrap it up. You're right. In time for us to fix a game. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you. We need you. If you have any questions, write to us online, and you can mail us as well. We will answer. We have a doctor in the house called May.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Every week comes a show where three people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on the IVM Podcast app to IVM Likes. Batman approves this message. Thank you, Batman.
Hi, I'm Vishal Gondal, an entrepreneur. I've had the chance to meet and understand how some of the super achievers have hacked their way to success, and they have done spectacular innovations. Now I take a closer look at these people's lives to find out what lies beneath the force, only on the Vishal Gondal Show. Episodes out fortnightly on Wednesdays on the IVM website, app, or your favorite podcasting platform.